there's not many coaches who have the absolute autonomy to do whatever they want for as long as they want, and the city, there's no there's no recourse. Is it? Do you find that kind of odd that some cities are like that, Mr.
Well, I
Cleveland?
mean, that may not be the
Well,
case
first
for
of first,
long.
first of all, Mr. Cleveland, first of all, this is the Voice of the Fans. Thanks for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you for tuning in. Got Mr. Cleveland out there, and we were just having a little discussion before the show about how some countries just get carte blanche, and you feel that way up there in the Northwest that some coaches just get to do whatever they want for as long as they want, regardless of the success rate.
Well, I think the only coach in the NFL that we can really say that about would be, your guy, Coach Belichick, up in New England. Everyone else certainly has a shelf life, and
Hmm.
rumors are that fairly soon the Trailblazers and Seahawks will be for sale, so that may not be
Ooh,
for
ooh,
long.
ooh. The rumor has it. We had to open up a news segment. So, are you breaking news right now, Cleveland? Are you breaking news on the Voice of the Fans podcast that somebody's will be on a warm seat here sooner than later?
I'm just saying that the new ownership may not have the same perspective that the previous
Mm.
ownership did. If the Seahawks are sold, it may not be right away, but if that does happen, certainly the carte blanche that
New,
you referred to, it may be running out. So
I mean, that I refer to it. That hasn't proven to be a situation, but that's interesting. Cleveland breaking new news here. That new broom sweet clean. That's interesting, having to do with the Seattle Seahawks. So we'll see how things progress. Um Once again, fans, I want to thank you for tuning in during Voice of the Fans podcast. It is May 25th, 2022, Cleveland. The years almost have gone already. It is week 192 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. So, Cleveland, as we do each and every week, we play our numbers game. And this week we're going to use number 25 and number 92. So, when you think of number 25, Cleveland, who first come to your mind, or who wore that number best, sir?
Barry Lamar Bonds.
Yeah, did he go to the University of Washington?
Arizona State.
So I guess you never heard of Bob Hubricks,
Nope.
University of Washington, second baseman. I think he led them to their only baseball NCAA tournament appearance.
Very nice. That's cool. Barry Lamar Bonds.
No acknowledgement from the UW attended. What about Doug Christie? Did Doug Christie go to school in the South End, wear the purple and the orange, or blue
Went
and
to
orange?
Rainier Beach, and then Pepperdine had a
I don't
great
know why I
college
said
career
purple.
there. Yeah.
Um, I thought for sure you say Richard Sherman. Okay. Well, I can't. It's hard to argue with Barry Bonds. Before he started using the flaxseed oil, he was a Hall of Famer, and then the flaxseed oil took it to another level. Was it the flaxseed oil alone, do you think, or was it a combination of flaxseed oil, little elbow ointment, or what helped that burst that he had in San Francisco?
Cam, I would have to, have a private conversation with his trainer Greg Anderson. But if you were asking me, I would say it would be the flaxseed oil and the clear certainly contributed to that 73 home run outburst, MVP season, World Series appearance.
That was fun. That was funny. That was good. I was along for the ride though. I did. I saw one of those. One of his 755 home runs. Actually, a few of them actually. Um, but the record breaking home run, I'm at the in line at Dodger Stadium while the ball. I think the ball might have hit me in the head actually, or came next to, flew by my head, I should say, um, because for whatever reason I'm at the concession stand when your guy Lamar Bonds comes up to hit. I don't know what the calculations were at that night, but I was at the concession stand when he hit one of those 755 home runs that he hit. Nonetheless, number 92, Cleveland. Who you got at number 92? You're going to go with your guy, Dave Wyman?
Reggie White.
Can't argue that one. They can't argue that one. Strahan kind of comes close, but I think Strahan's career was a year career of longevity, and then playing in New York. But we're seeing wherever Reggie White go, that defense uh, front was a force to be reckoned with. Whether it was in Minnesota or excuse me, not Minnesota, the Philadelphia. I think that might have been the. I know the '85 Bears is credited with being the '85 Bears, 2000 Ravens credited being as one of the top defenses around town, or in NFL history. But those 89, 89 and 90 Philadelphia Eagles, man. It might have been 88, 89, and 90. I mean, no, that's all they had. They were running around the country just smacking people in the mouth and couldn't score points. If they had any semblance of offense, if your boy Randall had any semblance of weapons, I mean, they could have really been dangerous. But it was what they were. Reggie was a beast wherever he went. So I agree. He's probably the best to wear number 92. Cleveland, man, this is the voice of the fans, and I know sports fans all around the world are aware of the tragedy that happens. Man, I mean, it's really too countless to name, and I feel like acknowledging one um, does a disservice to the other unfortunate incidents that we've had in this country, whether it be what happened in Buffalo recently, uh, or any of the incidents that's happened across the country here recently, or forever, for that matter. But what happened in Texas, man? I'm with Steve Kerr and what he had to say pregame. Um, the country needs to do something. These lawmakers need to stop politicizing this issue and do what we can to get um, guns off the street. I know it's a tough task because there's already guns on the street, but the fact that these are um, newly store bought guns, I think makes the situation even terrible, even worse because we know there's a hefty and an abundance of illegal weapons, right? But if you're able to just go buy store bought guns and then on Monday and turn around and use them Tuesday or Wednesday, I mean, we need to kind of be able to curtail that process. I think the country does, and I think there should be a simple gun's license needed, simpler to having a driver's license. You can't rent a car unless you have a driver's license, right? You can't go buy well, you can buy a car, but they're not going to let you drive it off the lot unless you have a driver's license. Kind of the same thing needs to happen. That's a simple law that needs to happen for the gun laws. What do you think, Cleveland?
I think, unfortunately, Cam, just having a license to use a gun doesn't necessarily um, foreshadow what someone is going to do with the gun after they purchase it,
Well,
and
yes, yes, certainly,
unless they're
yes.
like, the purpose of a driver's license is to make sure that you're, a safe, cautious driver, and that you're not, um, you know, hurting other drivers while you're out there on the road. Um, but unfortunately, like you're saying, uh, the country is so polarized that it's hard to get your head around what will actually create legislation to make it harder to purchase guns and make the country a safer place. I mean, it's just pretty much split down the middle, and there's a large percentage of people and um, the buying public in general that just doesn't want to have gun laws. So what to do about it is a great big question mark. It's a mystery. I don't know how many different tragedies of this epic proportion we're going to need to have in order to really have a serious conversation about it. Unfortunately, I think it's going to take someone very prominent and popular losing their life for people to really take affirmative action to what it is they need to do.
Well, Cleveland, this is a sports show. This is the voice of the fans. Voice of the fans. And when they started approach you with this opportunity or this medium, if you will, the voice of the fans is going to be the voice of entertainment fans, the voice of sports fans, the voice of architecture fans, the voice of literature fans. I want to be able to have all these tentacles that we're not there yet, but that was the purpose of the voice of the fans. So it's the voice of sports fans because that's what we deal with and talk about most. But I want to put this out there to the fans. Again, I'm not the brightest one, but I think it's simple. I think that would curtail some of the process, and all we want to do is be able to slow down. You're right. We can't say what they're going to do with the guns once they get them, but we can't say what people are going to do with their automobiles once they get behind the wheel. If they're going to drive off the cliff or they're going to, drive into the intersection on a red light. We don't know, but we're trusting that they're going to do the right thing, and that's the best we can do by saying, hey, by at least getting the appropriate license, getting the appropriate education behind gun safety will encourage you to be a safe gun owner. But at least getting a license shows that you're at least taking that step to be the responsible gun owner. So fans, you can be a part of the show at underscore voice of the fans at underscore voice of the fans. What do you think we should do? Is that enough, or what's your thoughts on the gun laws in America? I know it's a sports show, but that's just what I want to know. Simple as that. What's your thoughts on gun laws in America? Nothing else needs to be said. You're voting for who? You're voting for this guy or that guy, but just what's your thoughts on gun laws in America? And does a gun having you obtain a gun license will that make you a more responsible gun owner? Do you think? That's all I want to ask you guys. We're going to get into our topics as always. We got a lot to talk about this week. A lot. We're going to go heavy on the NBA playoffs. We're going to go heavy into the NFL off season, and then we got some various topics we're going to talk about. We got a Drew Lock special coming up. Cleveland's going to be. He wants to lead our Drew Lock conversation as always since he acquired Drew Lock. He's just so eager to talk about
I did not personally do that,
with
Cam,
his
but he
young
is a member of
with
the
his
Seattle
young
Seahawks.
he just with the young quarterback is going to be able to do it.
Fans, you see that magnificent look on Cameron's face. He just can't curb his enthusiasm. Look at it. Look at it. He just can't stop laughing and smiling. He's just so happy about the play of the Seattle Seahawks without their starting quarterback right now.
Fans want to know what's going on with the Seattle Seahawks. They lose Russell Wilson.
Talk about you, Cam. How come you can't say Drew Lock starting quarterback without smiling and laughing?
I mean, he's a starting quarterback, and we're gonna have a little Drew Lock trivia for you fans here later on.
We'll get there then.
But again, you guys can be a part of the show. Whatever you want to know about Drew Lock, hit us up at underscore voice of the fans on Twitter, at underscore voice of the fans on Twitter. We're actively checking our Twitter page, so please be a part of the show by participating. But before we get into our NBA, well, I guess this is part of our NBA topic. So Seattle and Vegas just been approved for expansion teams in the NBA. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I'm ecstatic about it. What's your thoughts on that, Cleveland?
It's well overdue. They wanted to bring in, an even number of teams. So, seeing the way that Vegas hockey and NFL has performed, and the growth of Vegas and the potential for that market sounds great. And again, Seattle's been on the docket for the last 15 years.
So that means there'll be two more teams coming in. Obviously, Seattle's going to be a Western Conference team, and the Vegas you would assume would be a Western Conference team. So that means what? New Orleans and Minnesota go to the Eastern Conference.
Somebody they haven't figured it out, but it'd probably be New Orleans
or Memphis, and that would be great for Ja if he was able to slide over to the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean,
if Ja sticks around in Memphis, that's certainly
here we go.
A positive to helping him get to an NBA.
You guys hear this, fans? You guys hear him trying to throw that in? If Ja sticks around in Memphis, you guys hear that? You guys hear that? And this is coming from a bandwagon Laker fan. What other team would he go to, Cleveland? If you say
I'm
if,
not his agent, Cam. I'm not his
I mean,
dad.
you threw it
When
out
free
there.
agency comes around, we'll have to see what his options are and what's the best fit for him at that time in his career.
What's the best fit? Okay, but that's going to be interesting, man. To have Vegas. They did the NBA All Star game. Man, time flies. That was 2008, was it? That they did the All Star game in Vegas.
I want to
2008 or
say, yeah,
nine.
7 or 8. Yeah, time flies.
Sheesh. And that was, I don't know. Did you go to Vegas? Did you happen to be in Vegas in that time?
Top 3 all time events I've ever attended. Yeah, it was complete
I
total
mean,
pandemonium down there
gee whiz.
in every way, shape, form, and
I
fashion.
gee whiz. It was it wa- it was reminiscent of Freaknik. It was reminiscent of Freaknik in Vegas that weekend. It was reminiscent. I don't know if you made it down to Atlanta during Freaknik,
Made it
but
down freaking yeah,
it,
except for with gambling and
it,
entertainers and yeah, and
with
everything in
entertainment.
between.
There was all kind of entertainers you want. There was a lot of entertainers
All
and
time,
entertainment.
all
It
time.
was off the chain. It was off the chain. So I imagine the All Star game will be coming around there pretty soon as soon as they get a team there. But that'll be good to get the Sonics back. So Cleveland, we got a lot to talk about, man. The NBA Eastern Conference, Western Conference are right in full swing right now. It's a 2 point game in Game 5 between the number one Celtics and the number two, um, or excuse me, the number one Miami Heat and the number two Celtics. It's a 2 point game here. Again, another going to uh, going to review on another foul call. Um, Tatum going to the hole to extend the lead to a 3 point lane. If he hits another free throw, it'll be a 4 point lead. 5 minutes to go in the third quarter of Game 5. Um, this has been a seesaw battle. Both all wins have been a blowout. So this is actually the first close game we had in this series because all the wins have been a blowout. Why do you think all wins have been a blowout?
Kim, I don't have a real good explanation for why all the wins have been by blowout, but I do feel that the Boston Celtics will ultimately win this series, unfortunately, and it will just expose, the fact that the Miami Heat need one additional player to get to where they want to go.
You say Miami Heat needs one additional player?
Correct. Yes, they were hoping it was Kyle Lowry. It's not him.
I think I tried to tell you, didn't I, at the beginning of the season, that who Kyle Lowry was not the answer. I think I tried to tell you, the people, that despite the record, um, Kyle Lowry coming from Toronto is kind of I don't like the term of Shelley what he used to be, but I thought at his peak he wasn't that great. Nonetheless, they do have Kyle Lowry. He is playing today. He just limped his way to the bench, so we'll see how this happens. But it's been kind of crazy, a back and forth game. Butler. What's been the most surprising part of the series? The most surprising part to me is the inconsistency from the Miami Heat. I have to say that for the blowout losses, I was surprised that what was it, last Saturday night they just got waxed. It was a 30-point game real quick, and they showed no heart. I was surprised by that. What's been the most surprising part to you?
For me, it was the Bam Adebayo game where he led the team in all 5 statistical categories. As if
That
he
was a
can,
surprise to you.
that was a surprise to me because if you can do that, you can at least lead your team in 2 to 3 of those categories on a consistent basis. And when you wait till game 3 to score, the same amount of points you combined 4 and 1 and 2, it's like, okay, well, do you know where we're at? What we're doing here? Can you give us
That's an
a little bit
inconsistency.
more consistently? It's like, wow, your
That's
30 and 15 and 12 and 9 and 6 game is cool, but it's like, where you
but
been?
that's the inconsistency I speak about. So although they're the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, um, they started in game one. They started two undrafted players in their game one against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, no doubt. So
Yeah, that's not a recipe for success at that level.
But they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're number one team in the finals. They're the number one team they're number one seeded team. So that's like the economy that they're in. And when you say that they need more talent, um, what is the difference, Cleveland? What is the difference, and what has got these guys to this point, Cleveland? We'll see if you can, if
Well,
you'll admit to it. And if you
what's
will admit
gotten
to
what's gotten this team to this point is the blueprint that Pat Riley has laid down from the top, in which he understands the grit and grime of the players that he wants. He understands the mentality that they need to have. When you don't have the talent of a LeBron James, a D Wade, a Chris Paul,
yeah,
you have
Timothy turns around.
compensate for the lack of talent in other ways, and it's heart and desire. So you got guys like Jimmy Butler. You see a lot of effort and
He don't want to say it,
enthusiasm
folks.
out there,
He don't want to say it, folks. He doesn't want to say
and
it. He
that's
doesn't want to say
why
it.
they've gotten to where they have. A little overachievement by guys like Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. And they've
He
been
don't want
able.
to. He don't.
They
He don't
also
want to
play in
admit
the
it.
Eastern
He don't want.
Conference where the
He don't
talent
want to admit it.
level is
He
not
doesn't
that
want.
high. So
Oh wow. So it's only. So it's only talent, huh? The culture, the blueprint. That has to do with
culture, the
kind of
blueprint, yeah,
that's
are the biggest
establishing the
factors as
culture.
to why this team has gotten as far as they have.
So no credit to Spoelstra. No
Sure,
credit
a
to
little
Spoelstra.
bit. Oh, for sure.
No credit to Spoelstra.
I've heard on numerous occasions in this playoffs he might be the best coach in the NBA right now.
But that's not that don't have anything to do with the reason that they're number one seed in the Eastern Conference and here 2 games away from going to an NBA Finals. What
Some
would this be?
it'd
Huh?
be some that's some of the reason. Yeah.
This be like his what 6 NBA Finals? Number 6?
This would be 6. Yeah.
Number 6? And did he have D Wade? Did he have the talent of D Wade? Did he have the talent of LeBron James the last 2 times he's been there? If he were to make it this time?
It would be Jimmy Butler both times.
Hmm. And you are the one that told me he's not that man. He's a little above average, if I remember the way you described him, a little above average, somewhere to that effect.
Yeah, JB is a good player. Not great.
So what is the difference? What is the difference in?
Well, again, the culture that Pat Riley has, created over the last 20 plus years he's been there. They also play in like you said, the Eastern Conference. So.
Okay, he don't want to
Pretty sure they're not getting out of the second round.
Now he don't want to give the Eastern
out
Conference
west out here.
So I mean, the Eastern Conference. Some say the Eastern Conference is a little tougher than the Western Conference.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that knows basketball said that.
When you're talking about, you had the Brooklyn Nets, you had the Philadelphia 76ers, you had the Miami Heat, you have the Boston Celtics all competing for that number 1 spot.
It just means it's a competitive conference amongst themselves. Doesn't mean that once they got outside the conference that they would be, an elite team. I'm not sure all those teams make the playoffs in the Western Conference.
Who, Philadelphia doesn't make the playoffs in the Western Conference?
Not 100% sure.
Brooklyn Nets don't make the conference.
Not 100% sure. I mean, they were a 7 seed. Kyrie only played half the games. You think out west, you think they break even with Kyrie only playing half the games?
Now you're trying to get me to throw some hope into Kyrie Irving.
I'm just saying. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, he only played half the games. I'm pretty sure they were a 7 seed in the Eastern Conference.
So if he was in the Western Conference, if he played for a Western Conference team, he would have been able to play all games except those games in New York. So that's a whole different situation. I mean, you can say that he would have played 48% more games had he been in the Western Conference. Now take that calculation. What do you think about that? They have a much better record if he plays 48% more games.
Well, he's not playing in the Western Conference. He's still playing for Brooklyn. So, I mean, what are you talking about?
Anyway, he don't want to give the Eastern Conference no love. So, so can the Mavericks make a game of this? Can they push it to 6 games? No, they're done tomorrow. They're done tomorrow night
Yes.
in game six. Is this a big win? What I mean, your guy. I mean, I know you don't want to think Luca is ready. I know you don't want to crown Luca at all. You don't want to give him any credit for what he's doing, but in elimination games, he has the best stats ever of anyone who ever played.
I
He's
gave
in the
lean
list.
back Luka a tremendous amount of credit. I mean, hey, he slayed your guy, the point guard, Chris Paul. Had
Oh
him
my!
sit on the bench in the fourth
Oh,
quarter,
listen to this.
cutting
listen to
his
this.
fingernails, pondering State Farm commercials. So yeah, I give him all the credit in the world for what he's doing. But I mean, he's going up against the Dragons, man, and you
I
just
mean,
can't beat the Dragons.
they've been looking kind of spotty though. They haven't been looking like a fluid.
Okay, well, the Dallas Mavericks won that game, but I think they were second or third all time most 3 points made in a game in a playoff game. That's not going to happen again.
Oh, they're not going to do. They're not going to be able to do
They're
that.
not going to be able to replicate that.
Do that in
that
San Francisco.
No.
Um. So, was Wiggins dunk? What do you rank Wiggins dunk over Luka Doncic versus Ja Morant's dunk?
Ja's dunk was way more ferocious, man. So sorry. I mean, the Wiggins dunk was cool and all, but
It was cool enough.
just the size differential in and of itself, and just
What do
what
you
you're
mean?
doing at that.
One guy dunked over the generational Luka Doncic, and one guy jumped over. Who did Morant dunk over? Nobody
Man,
even
it don't
knows.
even matter. The other dude
It
doesn't
don't
even
even
matter.
know. It doesn't even know.
It's just the ferocity of the dunk at Ja Morant size adverse, Andrew Wiggins. Not taking anything away from Drew's dunk, but no, it's Ja, man. They'll be showing Ja over and over again for 25 years. I don't know about the Wiggins dunk.
That'll be showed just as much time. What are you talking about? The only reason Josh Duncan will get shown more is because he's John Morant, and obviously he's going to have a career that's hanging around the spotlight more often. He's gonna have more bigger plays that they say, oh, let's relive this play than Andrew Wiggins will. You follow what I'm saying?
No, I get that to a certain extent, but I still think that the Ja Morant dunk was on a different plane than the Andrew Wiggins dunk.
Yeah, they're about the same. John Morant's probably 85. Wiggins is 80, 81. There you go. Lakers HC. I mean, what are we waiting around for? Have you talked to Jeannie? You talked to Rambis? Or have you talked to Palinka? I mean, what's the word? Are you on the email, the text chain? What's Phil Jackson thinking about? What's taking so long to name the HC?
I haven't talked to Palinka. I just don't trust anything he's going to have to say. I've got a feelers out to a few other people. They haven't quite gotten back to me just yet. Word around the camp.
Wait till after final. Wait till after finals to sign somebody.
Word around the campfire is that's probably going to be the case. Yeah. Certainly need someone. Pre-draft. So yeah.
So I mean, Russell's all. Palinka is not doing anything with Russell. It's all good. They're gonna hold on to him.
I think Palinka has probably tried to do as much as he can, but realizing that he's, got 4-week-old spoiled milk trying to pass off on people, it's not easy stuff.
We got our back. We got our guy back. We got our guy back. Back in the house. Riley is an OG. You got that right. Coach Bo, I'm. How can't Coach Bo get any credit? I mean, what's the deal? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if he wins a championship without LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh, he certainly will, rise to the pantheon of great coaches.
Okay, you say he's gonna have 45 in game 6, and he's gonna lose in game 6. Clarify that for me.
Yeah, the 45. That's a big number.
Cleveland.
Let him know, Ninja. Let him know. Love that guy.
We might have to do something. We might have to do something for the
Oh yeah, Ken wants to put him on mute now. He's like, yeah, how do I erase this? How do I move this off the screen?
holiday. So, we talked about it last week. Is the NBA too long, a long season or not? But what did you think of John Stockton writing a letter of support to the election protester?
It's weird how people after their playing days they get, into these other um segues of their life. And I don't know if it's just they have too much to do. I don't know if it's, we had the wrong perception of them initially. I mean, John Stockton went to Gonzaga. He's from Spokane, Washington. He played his entire career in Salt Lake City, Utah. So, kind of what his, thoughts are, or, I don't know, perhaps irrelevant at this point. What is it you're trying to do? The unvaccinated, aspect of it. It's just, as players progress in their lives, you see a transformation. You talk about your guy Phil Jackson earlier. Before he's in the picture with Clyde Frazier and Earl Pearl Monroe and Bill Bradley, and next 25, 30 years later, LeBron's
We
trash,
see.
his posse, and it's like, oh, what happened there? Something in between, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. You make a good point about the progression, and maybe, uh, or you make a good point on saying that do we know these guys, and is our perception off about them? Our initial perception off, and that was first impressions your lasting impression. Didn't agree. What do I guess you say? What's your guy? I guess you say. Um, what was his slogan back in the day?
Oh,
Image is
image is
everything.
everything.
Image is everything.
Yeah,
And so when the image is altered, I mean, it kind of sticks with you, right?
for
So
sure.
John Stockton always had the kind of clean cut, quiet image, and like you say, the greedy guard from Gonzaga. And a lot of that's still true, obviously, but maybe we're seeing the reality of who he is. And speaking up the situation, I listened to the a speech that he was talking about. Well, I was just doing something for a friend, giving a character rich reference for a friend. But John, do you acknowledge what your character, what your friend was up to? Do you, when you're giving you, I understand what you're saying, but do you know what your friend was up to, John? Like your friend wasn't just stealing a bag of chips from the local grocery store, John. Your, your friend was up to uh, some intense shit with the company, with the country, John. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
So when you I understand when you want to support your friends and all that, but at the same time, you got to look and see what you're supporting, and if you're willing to go that far to support this guy, what does that say about you? Um, so then now that question has to be asked, unfortunately, about Mr. John Stockton. Is his reality being exposed right now? And he's going to have to deal with that, as time progresses. Cleveland, the All Pro team was revealed, and were there any snubs as the first team was revealed? And we got Luka Doncic, Devin Booker, Tatum, Giannis, and Jokic. Funny thing about this list is when I look at this list, I see that three of the first team All Pros in the NBA in 2022 were foreign-born players. And I tried to have this conversation with Cleveland a year ago, and he didn't want to acknowledge that foreign-born players were kind of um, you want to say taking over the league. That's a strong word, but kind of the best players in the league, and that they would win the NBA MVP for the next foreseeable future. Cleveland disagrees with me, but what we see here in the NBA first team all NBA team is Luka Doncic, foreign born, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic. What's your thoughts on this first team in the NBA All Pro team?
first and foremost, Cam, got to give you credit for assessing the landscape of the NBA when you did. I certainly was very eager to take the field, meaning the rest of the league, adverse the four players that we're talking about. But
or just
those
be
four,
or just be contradictory to the knowledge
no,
that I was giving you.
I just think it's a better bet to take the entire rest of the NBA adverse four players, but these four players, like you say, have won the MVP the last 3 years, and this year even the runner up was not American born. So yeah, that's I don't want to say a problem. I just want to say that I do have to acknowledge that those four are certainly dictating policy right now, and you know, Giannis has a championship, so we can't say they're not capable of winning the championship. And once the Joker gets his full arsenal back, and the likes of Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., yeah, that could be a different team as well. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's to be continued. Stay tuned. Those four are doing quite a bit of damage, and yeah,
We're gonna have to say I'm gonna go ahead and say next year is gonna happen again. The four player is gonna win the NBA MVP. Embiid didn't win it this year. Embiid hasn't won it, and we would anticipate Embiid coming back with another strong season again. Giannis is going to be who he is. Nikola's going to be who he is, and Doncic. I mean, it's not going to be too long before he wins the MVP in the league, because you see what he's doing in these playoffs. Like,
not nearly as confident as I was going into this last season about just throwing the field out there. I would have to assess it a lot more strategically at this point, as opposed to just every other really good or great player, because that's just not going to be the case. I mean, the aforementioned four players are certainly putting in work. So
and then we have Curry, Morant, DeRozan. Kind of surprised by that assertion. Durant and Embiid, and they're on the second team. You good with the second team?
I'm good with the second team. I mean, like you say, DeRozan might have been a little bit of a reach, but he was certainly playing a little bit over his head, and putting up really big numbers. So not completely opposed to it.
And then the third team is your guy Chris Paul. And, I mean, this is all your guys: Chris Paul, Trey Young, LeBron James. I mean, Pascal. You don't know nothing about Pascal Siakam. And then Karl Anthony Towns. I believe that's one of your guys too, right there. You got it all. You got to like this all third team, all NBA third team.
I'm sorry, you did say Ja was on the second team, right? Did I miss that?
Jaws on the second team. Yeah,
Okay.
Jaws
Yeah.
on the second team.
So
You gotta
sure,
like this team. You got your guy Chris Paul,
sure, Chris Paul,
Trey Young.
Chris Paul third team as opposed to running the point on the first team. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Ice Trey. I feel about Ice Trey. The King. I feel about the King. Cat.
Did the King? Your King? Did he make the playoffs this season? Not sure. I don't know. I remember them saying. I don't remember them being on the playoff schedule. Did they
Well, the
make the
Los
playoffs?
Angeles Lakers did not make the playoffs this year, but
So how does this guy make 13 all NBA?
Well, yeah, he
All these
led
other
the
guys are playoff teams. All the
he
other
led
guys
he
are
led
playoff
he led
teams.
the league in scoring.
Again,
So let's go
we
with
got
that.
hollow stats. All the other guys, Chris Paul, playoff team. I think they were number one or number two in the West. Trey Young, playoff team.
They were
Pascal
number one in the
Siakam,
West, actually, but yeah,
play,
keep going. Playoff,
Pascal Siakam, playoff team.
playoff team,
Karl Anthony Towns, playoff team.
playoff team.
All these teams, we got 15 guys on this all NBA team. 1, 2, and 3 made the playoffs, and one guy who didn't make the playoffs on the list. Come on, get it out.
I guess that's just kind of a testament to the greatness of one LeBron James. I mean,
Greatness. His team did not make the playoffs.
even though his team was not
How you
able
gonna
to
call
make
him
the
great?
playoffs
How you gonna
due
call him
to
great? His team
injury
can't make the
and
playoffs.
chemistry issues,
No.
yet and still and yet he had a season that was good enough to be on, one of the all NBA teams, averaging 30 points a game.
Hollow stats. That's what it was. Hollow stats. If he was so great, why didn't his team make the playoffs? That's what I would like to know.
I just explained to you injury and chemistry issues, and now coaching philosophies I see have become part of the problem. So they're in search of doing that, fixing that. Got
So
some
he
free
just went.
agents that are
So
about
he
to
so
come
he
over.
in other words, he just went to the YMCA every week and just started putting up big numbers, and where the big numbers weren't impactful to them wins, to them
I
winning
did not.
games.
I did not say that. I
No, I'm
did not
saying
say
that.
that.
I'm saying that.
Okay, well, you
I'm
can go
saying
ahead and say
I'm
that if
saying
you want. I mean,
his you're trying
you
to throw
never
out
really
30
been a
points a
fan
game.
of the King.
Now you
So
want to throw. Now you don't like stats, but you want to stat me that you want to
you
throw out
never.
his 30
I'm
points a
not even
game.
statting you to death. I just said
You
he
want to
led
say
the league in scoring. How's that statting you to death?
because you want
I
to throw
didn't
it
bring
out.
I didn't bring
You
up
want
the 8 consecutive NBA finals. I didn't bring up the league in scoring,
I didn't,
I didn't
what
bring
I
up all
do for
those
last season?
other stats.
Oh, so
I just
so
said that
so
for
oh
this
so this is a
season.
lifetime achievement award. For lifetime achievement, we're gonna
I
give
just
him
said for
third team
this
All
season,
NBA
third
for
team,
all.
all NBA is just a testament to his greatness. That's all I said.
And what greatness is there if you don't lead your team to a playoffs in the NBA? There's only 16 teams. How many teams um, in your division? There's 16 teams. Half of the teams make the playoffs. You weren't even one of those half of the teams. How are you so great?
Are you questioning the greatness of LeBron James?
I'm
Is
just
that a
saying
real is that a true statement?
you keep throwing greatness out there, and I'm saying greatness in the NBA. When half the teams make the NBA playoffs, your team isn't one of them. How is that
Okay,
great? How does
fans.
that equal greatness?
Apparently Cam doesn't think that LeBron James is one of the great players in the NBA right now.
I, I need help. Understand? Help me understand. Help me understand.
Can't understand why he's great or how he's great because his team did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for clarifying that. That's exactly how is he great if his team does not make the
Such a
playoffs?
silly statement. Such a narrow-minded statement.
A narrow-minded statement. Huh?
Not understanding that he led the league in scoring. He's 117 years old and still just running out there with these kids doing the best he can. Okay, he
Oh, now he's
can't
doing the
foresee
best he can.
injury, can't foresee chemistry issues, can't foresee coaches getting over their head, not understand what they're doing. That's that's not on LeBron James, man.
What do you mean? That's the isn't he the leader of the team? You just called him the greatest. Isn't he the leader of the team?
Yes, he is the
Isn't
leader
it?
of that team.
Huh?
Yeah, he is the leader of that team.
So
Yes.
so how we got to put it on him? No, or you want to blame Anthony Davis on this? Or you want to blame Russell on this? They're not neither one of them as the leader of the team. Or you want to blame Jeannie, or you want to blame Rob? Who you want to blame? Everybody but that guy, huh?
Okay, first off, I don't think Anthony Davis, Mr. Glass, played 14 games last year. So certainly his absence in the lineup had quite an impact on how the record ultimately ended up. Russell Westbrook suddenly forgot how to shoot. I don't know if you've been watching any of the Laker games. The walking triple double, I think he had like 3 or 4 triple doubles. It was terrible. And once things got out of control, Frank Vogel was just looking over his shoulder for Jason Kidd, somebody to kind of help right the ship, and there was just no one there.
Jason Kidd's in Dallas.
And then Rob Pelinka was just hiding back, in the
in the
the
tunnel.
area where the players walk out. You're just hiding back in the tunnel, like he didn't put that together. So,
Oh, that's funny. The Laker fans is sick now. They sick now. All right, fans. We're gonna done talking about the NBA. I just haven't kicked it off and get some humor about let Cleveland vent about these. I just find it curious that 15 of the NBA's best players, 14 of the NBA's best players lead their team to the NBA playoffs, and one guy just happens. Cleveland calls him the king. Can't drag his team to the playoffs. I just find that pretty comical. That's all. Let's take a break, fans. If you guys got something to say, I'm here for the smoke. At _ voice of the fans, we can talk about it all day long. At _ voice of the fans, we can talk about it all day long. Who you agree with, Cleveland and his king, or you agree with me and you question how if you the king, you can't get your team to the playoffs. At _ voice of the fans, let me know what's up. Fam, let's take a little break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about some NBA or NFL topics, Cleveland. We got apparently Colin Kaepernick. We have a Colin Kaepernick sighting, Cleveland. Have you seen that? Are you
I
aware of
did.
that?
I heard something kind of in passing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about it, man. We got a Colin Kaepernick sighting. We're gonna talk about the Steelers is making some moves and Dante Pettis Your former Husky is on the move. Let's see if you know where Dante Pettis is going, and we're also going to Seahawks sign a wide receiver. Interesting, interesting that they signed a wide receiver. We man, we got a Deshaun Watson. His masseuse are talking now. Want to know what you think of this situation, Cleveland? You've seen her tears on Brian Gubble's HBO. What is it? Real Talk on HBO
Real
and
sports.
Real Sports. Excuse me. I want to see what you think about that. How that make you feel? How that changes perception? Um, we want to get into it. So let's take a little quick break here. We got a lot of NFL conversations to have. Let's take a hot one. Be back in 90, folks. The last 2 weeks, I agreed with Cleveland almost 100% of the time. I mean, what you his cousin or something? I mean, I see everything you talking about. Every time you got something to say, you want to pat Cleveland on the back, but he needs it. He needs it. He needs that extra boost of confidence to keep him up during these debates. So I'm glad you're here with him. I'm glad you're here giving us support. Um, and there he is. There, I was just telling your boy Ninja is back, and you see what he has to say. I was just telling him you need this boost of confidence. So I'm glad he's
Oh
giving
well, I
us.
mean, Ninja knows what's up, man. I mean, he's a sports aficionado like myself. I'm just
I
saying,
mean, I don't know
you
if
know,
this is your
game
cousin,
recognized game, real
if
recognized
this
real. You know, you
your
just be, you know, kind of
I don't
spouting
know if
out
this is
sometimes.
I don't know if this is your coworker or who this guy
Yeah,
is,
I
but
come with the actual, you know, facts and you know, the perspective of what's really going to happen, what's really going on out here.
yeah, okay, all right. But again, I don't know if this is your cousin. That's a pretty cool name. You and your cousin come up with that yourself,
Man,
Ginger
you
Ninja.
know, I guess that's your only out, huh, Cam? You know, to agree with you, so it must be a relative of mine, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Otherwise, he would be agreeing with you. Yeah,
He went to Newport too. Huh? He went to Newport too. How was that what happened?
might be an alum. You know, don't know.
Um, Cleveland, on a serious man, Colin Kaepernick. Apparently, he's actually gonna go work out with the Raiders. I mean, what's your thoughts on Colin Kaepernick? I got a specific thought on Colin Kaepernick. I said it 100 times. That I'll give Colin Kaepernick credit for one thing, um, and that is not being remembered for the guy who lost the job to Blaine Gabbert. Instead, he chose to sit on the water cooler, and then he talked to his buddy, the Marine, and then decided to take a knee, and then all hell broke loose. So I give him credit for actually standing up or taking a knee um, for the cause that obviously meant something to him and then all of the black community. I give him credit for doing that when nobody else was doing that. However, I do think that was a ploy. I still think that was a ploy for not being remembered for losing the job to Blaine Gabbert. It'll take a lot to convince me otherwise, because that's the direction he was headed. Um, and then if you remember, he took the knee. It was during a preseason game, and I think that might have been his last game actually starting. Um, so, what's your thoughts on Mr. Kaepernick actually getting the opportunity with the Raiders?
I think it's you know, a little too late. I don't think you know, Colin Kaepernick has a whole lot left in the tank per se. Like you said, he was kind of, you know, a fringe starting quarterback 4 years ago. So certainly he's not going to beat out Derek Carr. Can he get the backup job over there? I think maybe for good publicity, that would be something that they might consider. But I just think that's just too long for anyone to be out of professional sports, whatever sport it is that they're playing, and then jump back in um, with the expectation of having any type of contribution to it.
I do think there you go, Ninja. You're coming around. You're finally coming around, Ninja. I do think that when I look at the specific team, so you put it the best. He was a French player 4 years ago when he actually kind of stepped away from the NFL, kind of got blackballed, if you will. He couldn't have gotten better over the last over the last 4 years. He couldn't have got he could not have gotten better at throwing the ball, hitting targets, taking snaps, moving in and out of the pocket, moving around. He just could not have gotten better. You don't get better not doing it. So it's been 5 years now. Can he get a backup job? I mean, can he brush off enough rust to get a backup job? They had Marcus Mariota in the role before last year, and I know you got some thoughts about him being a from the University of Oregon, but Mariota wasn't uh, Drew Bledsoe drop back passer by no means, right? He has a lot of skills that Marcus Mariota had. Is he as good as Marcus Mariota was? I mean, to be honest with you, he can't be a lot worse than Marcus Mariota.
Oh wow!
Um, I mean, you tell me when Mariota came into the game, he was called upon to run some running plays, right?
I
And
mean, he's starting right now, though, right? Or did I miss something?
no, yeah, where'd he go? Is he in
He's
Atlanta?
starting quarterback for the Falcons, right?
Yeah. What are you expecting for the Falcons this season?
It's only
Be honest.
32 starting positions in
Be
the
honest. What are
NFL,
you
so if you
expecting
get
for the
one of them,
Falcons?
that's kind of
What? Okay, fair enough. He got one of them. What are you expecting from the Falcons?
uh,
Exactly. My point exactly.
7
There
and
you go.
10, maybe.
Okay, so he got one of the jobs. Yes. My point was that they would use, in assuming same coaching staff is there, he would be used in the same fashion that Marcus Mariota was used in at the Raiders. In the event that he makes a team and oh boy gets hurt, he's not going to be asked to pass the ball around the field. He's going to be asked to maybe roll out and run the ball, do what he was able to do before. I would guess that he can still do that. Um, I would assume he could do that better than throw the ball and hit some targets. What's your thoughts on that?
You know, I don't. I'm not really convinced he can do any of those things, Cam. I mean, it's been again 4 years. It's just that's not something that you can't just replicate what uh, the speed of the NFL game is like, and
Yeah,
you've seen quarterbacks as they get older. That's kind of the first thing to go. The only quarterback I've ever seen that kind of took a whole lot of time off and then was thrust into a position and really succeeded was, as we talked about him earlier in the show, Randall. But again, he had Randy Moss to throw to and a really big arm and kind of an open
that helped to
offense, right? So that kind of
revive his
helps. I
career.
don't really know
Yeah,
that
he's
Colin
not the
Kaepernick
passer.
is just going to just sit away from the game for that long and then all of a sudden just jump in and use his legs to get first downs or his knowledge of reading defenses. I don't think so.
Yeah, your boy Ninja got a point that Kurt Warner did step away for a while. His stint between Arizona and then or excuse me, who he first
In
took
the
to the Super Bowl,
Rams and then
the
to
Rams and the
Arizona, he
Arizona.
was
Yes,
with the
was
Giants for a minute,
yeah. He
and
had a
then
lot of 5 6 years,
yeah.
5 6. But he's not again. Colin Kaepernick is not the passer that either Randall Cunningham is. He was never the passer that Randall Cunningham is, or that Kurt Warner is. Never ever. And I mean, those are we're talking about. Oh, is Randall in Hall of Fame? We're talking about some big time players in either way. Um, Vic came back, but Vic was only away from the game for a couple years. That was we're talking about 4 years now. Vic was away for 2 years at most.
And much
We're
younger, kind
much
of in
younger,
the
yes.
process. So
Yeah, Cap is it's been 4 years. I just don't think that he has impact as in the backup role. Maybe he can do something in the backup role. Maybe he can roll out and pick up a couple first downs. I doubt he's going to go and be in the game and go 25 or 20 for 25, 370 yards. I doubt we'll see that. I would put money on us not seeing that. But he can pick up a few first downs. He can goal line situation. He can probably make a couple plays. That's what I think they would expect at him. If you remember how they used Marcus Mariota, I seen him play, watched him play a couple times last year. That's how he was used when he came into the game. And I don't know. I think he can at least do that. We'll see how that transpires. Um, but I just find it interesting that he's actually getting an opportunity, and we'll see how things actually transpire. The Steelers name Amar Khan, a new vice president of the team. Probably he's been with the team for quite a while, but is um, a minority in sports, and they in a high profile position. Again, with the Steelers, who's a cutting edge team, a groundbreaking team. So kudos for them to keeping up the trend. What do you think? And sticking in that same conference, what do you think about Rashad Bateman's comments? It's my time when he was asked about them trading Marquise Brown. What do you think about his comments now?
legitimate. It was already going to be his time, whether Hollywood Brown was there or not. I mean, if he's able to stay healthy, he had already proven to be a better receiver. So yeah,
Can he stay healthy though?
that's a huge question mark. I don't think so, but give him 10, 12 games.
And your guy Dante Pettis, he goes to the Bears. Can he make a breakout for the Bears? I thought he was a pretty good possession receiver while he played at your alma mater. Um, I thought he would fit in. I was surprised he didn't fit in with the Niners, considering they needed receivers. What's your thoughts of him going to the Bears?
Punt return. We'll see what he can do.
Punt return. I don't think that's his way to stay in the league.
Well, I mean, if he's trying to make it as a receiver, I mean, we'll see. But yeah.
I mean, he's like a five flat, isn't he? Like, I don't think he's gonna punt return is
Well, I
not.
mean, his kind of his backup was being the punt returner. I mean, it's great that he can catch every once in a while, but like you said, he's small and slow. So I don't know. And
Well,
Justin Fields is not the most accurate, like you said. If we're
that's a
talking about
problem. That's
quarterbacks
a
that are
problem.
particularly accurate, yeah, Justin Fields is on that list. So
That is a problem. That is a problem. But we'll see what he gets. He got another opportunity. Um, the Saints down there making some moves. They signed Tyrann Matthew. He goes home and play in New Orleans. That's a big move for them. That now I think they already had a pretty formidable secondary. Now they add him back there. I think that makes them even more formidable. What do you think about the signing of Tyrann Matthew?
well, for him and Jarvis Landry, they will soon find out that the NFC South is not the SEC, and they're not, rekindling any old memories or past glory. It's just going to be football. And the Saints don't
Okay,
have Sean Payton nor quarterback, so they won't be
well, they
very
got
good.
Jarvis. They got Jameson.
See, you can't even say his name right. That's just how understated he is, man.
So you know what I think about Jarvis. You already know what I think about Jarvis Landry. You don't
Hmm.
think Jarvis can him and Jameson can develop a combination there?
See, you still can't say his name right. No, I don't think him and Jameis can develop any chemistry. I don't think Olave is going to make no difference. It's Jameis Winston without Sean Payton and Drew Brees whispering in his ear. So no, I don't think so.
It's time to show. Okay, so he was having a good season before he got hurt.
Yes.
You don't think any of that rubbed off his time with Drew Brees and Sean Payton? Any of that rubbed off when he
I'm
had
sure it
years to
did,
sit
but
on the bench?
those two people are not there, so it's a completely different system and scheme. And yeah, I don't think that he's going to be able to replicate the success he was having before getting hurt. No,
Well, there's what your brother thinks about Jameis. He just there's what you. I mean, there's a receiving core. You got you're gonna have you already have the running back, right? You already have the
I
running back.
mean, we'll
You
see.
have
We'll see if he's gonna, be eligible to play all the games.
is there something I don't know about?
Oh, there were some off the field incidents. We'll see how they all, uh, you know,
Uh,
turn over. But yeah,
Cleveland and the police blotter, huh? Um,
yeah.
I mean, they got Thomas and Landry. They got a formidable receiver. That's a Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry. I mean, they're two underneath receivers. Um, they had somebody take the root, take the. No, don't they have Cooks to go deep?
No, man. Olave's there, man. They drafted Olave.
That's the receiver they drafted. So here, I mean, you don't like the receiving core. You don't like Jameis.
I don't like James.
Okay. Well, with 2 minutes to go, it looks like the Boston Celtics they're up 14 points. Look like they're gonna take the lead on Miami's home court. They're gonna go up 3-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals. 2 minutes 9 seconds to go. Tatum just hits another free throw to put them up 15 points over the Heat with 2 minutes to go. Once again, looks like half the lower bowl is already checked out of the stadium in Miami. FTX arenas are pretty empty, so there might not be a traffic problem. But unfortunately, surprisingly, we have the Celtics taking a three game advantage over the Heat. And now they're just dribbling out the clock now. Definitely, this is a wrap here. 15 points with a minute and a half to go. Um, Interesting. You want to say something real quick about your Celtics? I know you had the Celtics winning the series.
First off, they're not my Celtics. I said I thought they would win the series because they had the best player on the court, and I still feel that way. I was feeling that way going into Game 5. Um, like you said, this is the first game that was ever close at halftime, so it's not like It's easy to predict what will happen in this series, even if they go back to Boston. We could have a Bam out of bio sighting, right? So, they could take that game and it'll just be a game 7, or Jason Tatum could just be the best player on the court for a little bit too long, and Jimmy Butler's got a ceiling and a threshold to how long he can sustain his greatness, or not his greatness, that level of play, which makes people think that he's an elite player, which he is not.
Oh, for people to think, yeah, I heard you. I heard that. You didn't think I heard that? For you trying to sneak something in for people to think that he's a great player. That's a shot. I heard you. So definitely, I'm gonna let Jimmy know what you just said about that, and I bet in Game 6 he'll have a different story. He'll have something to show you. I bet he will have something to show you. Me and Jimmy will be out on the phone after this game. Um, Jordan Brooks, Bobby Wagner is the Seahawks didn't want Bobby Wagner. Um, Isn't he the all-time leading tackler? The Seahawks had no more use for this guy. Um, can Jordan Brooks? He led the team last year in tackles. Can he take over as a leader now of this defense?
Certainly has the opportunity to do so. I think he will definitely be a tone setter in his third year, whether, having played underneath, players like KJ Wright and, Wags his entire career coming up. Is he ready to make that step? We'll see. I think the only other uh, contestants for the role of, defensive leader are Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs. So, and I don't think that's necessarily a really high bar to get over. So we'll see if he has given the opportunity, whether he takes advantage of it or not.
So 3 years later, what's your thoughts on the acquisition of Jamal Adams? Or was he worth the two number ones? Are you happy with the pickup?
It's hard to say. First season, he played phenomenal. The second year, I think that he was out of position quite often and asked to do things he's not particularly good at. I think with the style of play that we had him playing in the first season, he reminded me a lot of Bob Sanders, in a good way and a bad way. Bob Sanders was NFL Defensive Player of the Year, but he was also 5'10", 190 pounds, and eventually you just can't hit big, strong people that hard for that long without your body breaking down. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong and he's not the reincarnation of Bob Sanders and he has a little bit more durability in him, but not 100% sure. 2 number 1s was kind of a lot.
Bob Sanders, for being 5'10", 190, was a much better enforcer than Adams has shown to be at any point in his career. I think Adams shown to be kind of a ball hawk and a playmaker, but not necessarily an enforcer.
Well, I
That
mean, I think the
Bob
Aiden
Sanders
has,
showed.
the sacks and kind of the, ability to kind of play, the run and, just kind of put, pressure on the passer is kind of what had separated him previously. And then I think last year asking him to cover a little bit too much and, um, do things he just was not accustomed to doing was kind of his downfall.
Well, once again, who does that fall on? Who does that fall on?
Scheme. Football's all about scheme.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really?
Football has a lot to do about scheme and putting players in the right positions to be successful.
And what is that called? What is that called?
Putting players in the right position to be successful.
And that's who does that? Who does that? Who's responsible for that?
It's the organization's responsibility to make sure there are people in play that can, orchestrate that.
He refuses to acknowledge coaching matters, folks. He refuses to acknowledge it.
Coaching does matter. Coaching matters to a point. And in some sports, it's way more important than others.
You just went on a 5-minute soliloquy explaining how Jamal, you haven't got the best out of Jamal Adams. You just explained it. You just talked about that for 5 minutes. Yeah. And I have one term for you: coaching. Coaching matters, Cleveland.
In football, it most certainly does.
You know what? Michael Jordan had a coach. I don't know if you know that or not. There's a trainer who's made a mitt off of his post-career because I trained Michael Jordan for 5 years.
Yeah.
So for you not to think that coach,
Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen had the same coach that Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant had.
No, I was talking about the personal coach that went around after Michael Jordan's career. The personal trainer that Michael Jordan had went around and he trained Kobe Bryant. I think he spent some time with your Kane. But there's coaching matters, and one day you're going to get that, Cleveland. That's all I can say. One day you'll get that. Okay, one day you'll get that.
I know you and little Nicky are in that same page right now. You about to move to Tuscaloosa, or what's up, man?
Here's your boy Ninja talking about. He plays up in the box but he was not. He played up in the box. Yes, the enforcing part is what I'm saying about Adams. That I don't think he has the game that Sanders had. And then it was just. I think Sanders was seeking hits. I think Adams avoids the hits, and I'll leave it at that.
Interesting.
Seahawks sign. I guess Drew Lock told him let's go get Michael Goodwin, huh? Or Marquise Goodwin. They got weapons for Drew Lock, huh? So was there some? Did they play in high school together, or some 7-on-7 league or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
I mean, you don't know anything about what them signing Marquise Goodwin?
I heard they signed him. Good. Adds depth and competition to training camp.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to get into Drew Lock anyway, but you want to tell us what Drew Lock has been up to? You guys any Drew Lock news for us?
Haven't heard. No updates.
All right. Well, before I got a Drew Lock
sightings around town, so
we got a little Drew Lock trivia question for Mr. Cleveland in a minute, but I want to know before we get to that, your thoughts on Deshaun Watson. His masseuses are speaking up now. They were on Real Sports with Brian Gubble. Did you see any of this? Did you see any of the masseuse and shedding her tears, talking about how uncomfortable she was?
I did not see any of the real sports. I can imagine, giving the nature of what was going on, the distress that she was feeling, and the probably the outrage that she feels with regards to Deshaun Watson getting a $250 million guarantee contract after all of these things. So yeah, it's
I
unfortunate
mean,
that.
so I'm gonna poo-poo that, Cleveland. If two in the state of Texas grand juries have said we're not gonna pursue criminal charges, what are we doing? What are we doing here? What is the NFL doing? It's been a full season. You guys talked to the kid 3 days and consecutive days last week. The investigation should be if the investigation is over. What are we talking about? Why is this kid being cleared to play? Or hit him with the 6 game suspension, let him appeal it down to 4. What are we doing? Can you help me out? Can you explain this to me?
Sure. Just because the state of Texas decided not to go forward with pressing charges doesn't mean anything bad didn't happen. And there are more than enough people to say that kind of are reiterating the same story. So, yeah, it just depends on what your take is on it. Once again, nobody was messing with Deshaun Watson until after Texas said we're not going to prosecute. Then all of a sudden, the sweepstakes and the floodgates just opened up, and everybody forgot about all of the you know things that these masseuses were saying. It just became like water under the bridge. Like, oh, that's too bad that
Cleveland,
happened for
okay.
you, but that's not going to stand in the way of us signing a franchise quarterback.
Um, because they're not criminally punishing the guy. So isn't aren't they just allegations? I can say Cleveland's a
It's
white
funny,
beater,
Kim.
but
It's funny,
unless
Kim. You
you
heard you heard the tape a year ago, and you were deeply disturbed. And now all of a sudden, you act
no,
like you didn't hear it, and like you're not disturbed. And like when 30 people say this thing happened to them, like because the state of Texas, of all places, isn't prosecuting, then it's just not that big of a thing.
no, see,
And you should just forget all about it because they said that they weren't going to go through with any, uh, you know, criminal prosecution. So hey, man,
no,
stop your
Cleveland.
blood clot crying.
I listened to the tapes over a year ago. You're absolutely correct. And what I said then, I'll say it right now. I thought the situation was icky. Nothing to keep the guy off the field. The same thing I think with Trevor Bauer. Like for the Dodgers just to shake all ties of Trevor Bauer for something that I guarantee how many guys are on the field? 22 guys on a baseball team. I guarantee 20 of those guys have been in that same exact situation that he was in. Their partner just didn't tape the conversations or text messages and didn't go to the police. So that was a consensual situation with Trevor Bauer. It was an icky situation with Deshaun Watson. It was unexpected. It was something that you wouldn't expect the guy who has millions of dollars in the bank, a young, handsome black guy, to be doing at yeah, Deshaun Watson. There's a stupid tax he has to pay. That's going to be part of his 6 game suspension from the NFL. It should just say stupid tax because you were stupid for going to Instagram from trying to find a masseuse when you could have went it right to any mall in any town that you were in. You were in Houston, Texas, for all people. I'm pretty sure that the selections are hanging around the mall looking for a guy like Deshaun Jackson is pretty plentiful. And if not, James Harden could have probably pointed you in the right direction for a couple people that might have been pretty accommodating for what you were looking for.
You should have went to
So,
the beard and yeah, got some referrals. But yeah. See,
I mean,
but yeah, I'm not really ready to downplay once 30 plus people kind of come forward and have the same story. And that's just people who
yeah,
came
but
forward.
what is the story you hearing? You're not hearing any abuse. You hear him? You're not hearing. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just think we're doing a whole lot of whole lot of nothing. If the police criminal did not want to charge him criminally, he should be allowed to play. We should know
Well,
right
I
now.
mean,
We should know
Cam,
where he is.
you're absolutely right in the fact that by the NFL standards, yeah, this is old news and water under the bridge, and they're ready to, at the very most, the 4 game suspension, and he'll be on the field, man,
I
with
mean, if
no
we,
criminal charges, being pursued. That's all that they needed to hear.
I mean, that's if we they would have been a little bit more proactive. He could have been wearing a teal and aqua and teal by now.
I know that's where you were trying to go. I know that's the way you were angling with all this. I
I
know
mean,
it, Cam. I know you're still miffed. They didn't come to this conclusion sooner.
I mean
Man,
that's
they should have
that's what
stopped
I'm
listening
saying.
to masseuses a couple of months ago, huh? EB 305.
I mean, um, yeah, I get you. All right, Ninja, you might need to be a host. You might as well click on the link and let me bring you on the show. Because yeah, it wasn't one of them though. That's the problem thing. That's the problem, with Ninja. It just wasn't one skeezer. It was a few. It was a few too many.
Yeah.
That's the problem that we have. He has right now. It was just a few too many calls, and that's why Mr. Cleveland over there is saying, "Oh, we got to hold tight. We can't. We got to reserve judgment until I need to hear more. I need to hear from more. I guess that's what he's saying. I need to hear from more of them. I mean, I don't know what Cleveland's waiting for over there. Um, but Cleveland, you're gonna have to make a decision about this one. The NFL is talking about canceling the Pro Bowl altogether. Um, let's talk about some alternatives for the Pro Bowl. I was obviously the Superstars tournament, like the Superstar tournament and the skills competition. I mean, those have to be a must. If you're not going to have the Pro Bowl in itself, those events that were leading up to the game on Sunday, I mean, you're going to have to do that. That's going to have to be a must. I think they should do that though with the NFL. Need to use this opportunity. How the NBA All Star Game is just it's a boost for the culture, if you will, right? Would you say the NBA All Star Weekend? They focus on giving back to the community. They focus on events that now they're doing the HBCU events where they're doing having the classic game, and then they'll have the donations. They broke the game. I don't necessarily agree with this new scoring system. They got an NBA All Star game, but it makes it interesting, and it involves the HBCU. So in that sense, it's a good thing. The NFL needs to use this opportunity to use the Pro Bowl to do something similar to that. If it's not giving focusing on HBUs, let's focus on community upgrades. Whether they need to do something very similar to that, just to get the communities involved, get the players more involved. I think this skills competition maybe um, get some entertainers involved. As we know, all athletes want to be entertainers, or singers, and all rappers and entertainers want to be athletes. We already know that. So include some entertainers in the skills competition. It'll be a kick. Like they have the. You can't have a. I understand you can't have an all-star celebrity football game. I totally get it, but maybe you can have the skills competition with some celebrities in it who want to participate. There's some celebrities out there who think they're ball players and they can do it. So let them participate in the skills competition. You're gonna have to do some seeking out, but I think that would be a fun event because you're gonna need to draw more eyeballs. Number one, it is the NFL. So a lot of people is going to tune in anyway, but you get the NFL with some musical celebrities, some movie stars, and TV celebrities that can only enhance what we see in that Pro Bowl weekend. Um, I like the beach volleyball. I mean, I like the beach football game. Um, I thought that was a pretty cool event. I understand what was it Andre Edwards. It wasn't Andre Edwards. It was
Roberts.
Robert Edwards went down. It was ugly, and they did it one weekend. He went down, and essentially that was scrapped forever, and we haven't seen it since. That was when in the '90s, maybe. He was catching passes from Drew Bledsoe, so that was early '90s, right?
It was a minute ago. I don't. Maybe it was
Um,
in the 90s.
so I think that was something that they can do. What's your thoughts on some of the things that they can do for as alternatives to the Pro Bowl game?
I was listening to you talk, and after listening to you, yeah, I'm cool with him scrapping it, man. Yeah, those other alternatives you were coming up with were, yeah, no. Might as well just scrap it, man.
No, you got to do. You're gonna have to do something, man. The Pro Bowl is significant for it's significant for obvious for signings. So that was '98. That was '98 that he played for the um,
Patriots.
he played for the Patriots. So that was '99 that he went down with the leg injury. Ugh. And didn't play 1 year. Didn't play since. That was too bad for Robert Edwards. Too bad. Um, what is your thoughts? What's your thoughts on this? You don't like the beach volleyball game or the beach
No,
football
man.
game? You don't like the
My
superstars
thoughts my
tournament? You don't
thoughts
like the
are
skills
the nature
competition?
of the game is too violent. The
Right, I
opportunity for
understand.
injury is too high. You can't really have a quality game because most of the best players are playing in the playoffs and aren't going to be eligible for the Pro Bowl. And if they're not, they're nursing some injury that they've been having for the last month,
Okay, we're
and
scrapping the game.
it's
I
just
told
and just
I agree with
playing
you.
a game for the sake of
I,
playing a game is just not
I agree. I don't agree
worthwhile.
with scrapping the game. Nonetheless, if that's the conclusion they come to, I understand why. What are the alternatives though? Let's suggest some alternatives for what they can do. You don't like
Yeah, we're not. Yeah,
the
yeah.
superstar tournament?
Turning the Pro Bowl into like the NFL Combine, man, and throwing through the tire and running around this person and jumping over that obstacle. Nah, man,
The skills competition is doesn't interest you at all.
no,
The
not really.
skills competition, superstars competition,
Nah,
fastest man,
nope,
fastest man.
nope.
I think I think if they threw this skills competition with the superstar tournament and put NFL weekend on it, Pro Bowl activities, I think they'll get just as much ratings as the football game. That's my opinion. I think they got to do something. They got to celebrate the players for winning the Super Bowl. I agree with Shannon Sharp. They got to take this back to Hawaii. They got to make it a destination spot so everybody can get together in one spot. The players in Vegas, Orlando, no players don't care about that. They don't. They can go there on their own time. I think they no 7-on-7 with no pads. I do not like the 7-on-7 game. I'd rather see them play beach volleyball. 7-on-7 or flag football, unless they're playing with um, as I mentioned earlier, unless they're playing with they're laying on Will Smith and they somebody brings in LL Cool J and Jamie Foxx. LL Cool J on one team, Jamie Foxx on the other team. Unless they get this some kind of rivalry or competition like that, that's gonna that certainly would heighten their competition on the 7-on-7 drills. Um, but would you tune in there to see LL and Jamie Foxx out there on a football field? Cleveland, I think you're wrong. I think a lot of people would. If you wouldn't, a lot of people would. Um, Man tournament, I don't think that does anything. I think the player they need to do something that involves the players. That's what I think. Here's what my guy Jarvis Landry has to say about it. As Pro Bowlers, we want to enjoy our off season and get back healthy. Fans wanting something better than that. The last few years is complicated. The risk is higher than the reward. I'm certain that you agree with that. Uh, skill challenge showdown still happens. More fan engagement events, and the week ends with senior game. They, if the week ended with the senior game, I like to see some of the players kind of coaching the seniors during the week of the football. I like to see that interaction between the college players and NFL players. If you're going to end the game with the Senior Bowl, what's your thoughts on Jarvis Landry's tweet?
It's interesting that the top players don't even go to the Senior Bowl. Yeah, you're a second tier player if you're at
Yeah,
the
that's a
Senior
good
Bowl.
point. Yeah, that's true.
So It's just a watered down version of a watered down version. It's not like you're getting the best college players to come and do this. You're getting like players that, again, on the fringe,
Nonetheless, no,
not top 10, top 20 talent typically in your senior bowl in the same way it's not in the Pro Bowl. So,
no. So where I would disagree with you in the sense that yes, they're not the number, the top 10 draft picks. Wouldn't be playing in the Super Bowl, in the Senior Bowl. I agree with you there. However, those Senior Bowl guys, those guys playing in the Senior Bowl are all playing at their top level, obviously to make a name for themselves, to elevate their draft stock, their draft status. So I think you're still getting you're getting a high level competition. I'll say that. And so um, I think there will still be some value in that, but I think there needs to be again some interaction between the players and the players, the college players and the pro players. What that is, I don't know. If the pro players are just coaching them up, I don't know. Um, but then that takes away is that's like the senior week, the Senior Bowl week. There, it's not a Pro Bowl. I don't know how that does. There's a lot of challenges involved. Obviously, we know it's a NBA that has a much better chance of getting a real game at an NBA or Major League Baseball. I don't even some of the hockey skills stuff in hockey I paid attention to, but never kind of watched the All Star weekend for the hockey, so can't really comment on that one. But I
yeah, I
know
watched that they had a shootout where they were playing 21. That was cool.
they did
Yeah.
3-on-3 competition or something like that.
No, they had these great big face cards, and you had to like shoot the puck through the cards and like get 21.
Hmm.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a work in progress. I'd like to see, if they're listening to me, Roger Goodell. What's my opinion? Um, I need to see the superstars tournament come back. I need to see the skills competition, and I need you to involve celebrities. You need to get celebrities involvement to heighten, um, maybe heighten attendance. I don't know. I don't heighten attendance, heighten awareness. And just increase the fun that the players are having out there. I think that's what you would do. Nick Foles signed with the Colts. Is that a significant signing? Nick Foles signing with the Colts.
Yeah, I got Matty Ice and Nick Foles. I mean, roll with that.
Cleveland, explain to me why Lamar Jackson is hesitating to sign his contract.
I'm not 100% certain, especially given the fact of how much more guaranteed money there is in these last few contracts. Um, I don't think it's a situation where he feels like he's not appreciated or valued with Baltimore. And I'm not sure if he thinks the grass is greener somewhere else, because this offense is predicated on running the ball and a strong defense and doesn't ask him to do a lot with regards to the passing game. So I'm not quite sure what the alternative is for him that he's looking at, or if there's some type of situation with ownership he just doesn't feel comfortable with, which would be unusual. So honestly, I do not know.
Um, so the only thing I can, yeah, Foles reunited with Frank Reich is good, but Foles is going to be on the bench. He's just a backup player. So, um, you know, I don't think I think Matt Ryan is going to succeed in that role. I don't think it's just for emergency situations. But to your point, Cleveland, um, I think Lamar. The only thing I can think about why he's not signing it is because they do expect maybe next year the salary cap to increase, and maybe he can get a bigger piece of money from that this signing next season. Um, Maybe he think he can lead the team to the Super Bowl and claim another MVP, and that should elevate his contract. But I think he's already at the max, so I don't. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm thinking he's thinking he can elevate his game. I mean, that's that's about the only thing I can think of. but I know he's already at the max. They're not going to offer him anything less than the max. They want to give him the max right now. But if he's thinking, okay, well, if I hold out to next season, I can probably get 10 or 15% more. I mean, that's good logic there. But you are betting on yourself, and uh, I mean, coming off of playing, you didn't play the last four games because of an ankle injury, not a sprain. Because of sprained ankle, you didn't play the last 4 games. You know how I am about not being there when the team needs you most. Like, I'd probably go sign that contract, Lamar. Um, put that behind you. Uh, I don't think I don't think that Baltimore is questioning whether they want you around for the next dozen years. I don't think that they're questioning that. But in order for you to stick around for the next dozen years, clearly you're going to have to stay healthy. Um, high ankle sprain, Ninja, when your team's competing for the playoffs, that shouldn't hold you out, buddy. That shouldn't hold you out. The way the league protects quarterbacks nowadays, high, I'm not I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Um, I just don't know why he's not signing the contract. It's curious to me as to why he's not signing the contract because they want to give him all. Now, if they're telling me that he's getting the intel that the salaries are going to salary cap is going up 10%, and instead of getting 200 and 40 mil, he can get 200 and 84 mil. Okay, that's a good. That's a 40. Another additional 40 mil is a good enough reason for me. But other than outside of that, I don't know why he's not signing a contract. But Cleveland, we still are on Baker Watch 2022. Clearly, the Seahawks. Apparently, the Seahawks are not waiting for the price to drop. Apparently, they're comfortable moving forward with Drew Lock. They're taking a kid from Missouri and going to make him a household name in the state of Washington somehow. Clearly, they're comfortable with doing that. I don't know where's a home. Tell me a home for Baker Mayfield. The Raiders are out here signing.
I don't, Cam, I can't think of one. I think he's going to be, at home until someone gets hurt.
And that's what I thought about Baker coming out 4 years ago, coming out of Oklahoma as a number one draft pick in the league. I'm surprised he's at this point. I am surprised he's at this point. Um, I'm really surprised at where he's kind of. I want to say fallen, but man, it's a surprise. Uh, uh, Another quick question for you, Cleveland. How many wins does Tyreek Hill account for?
4 to 5.
Okay. Okay. So again, we had our we talked about the NFL schedule release last week, and I just want to touch on it because I don't feel I was clear enough with the scheduling and my outcome. So I wanted to review it, and we're going to look at the Dolphins, Seahawks, and Chargers right now.
Sure.
Again, I don't think I was clear enough, and I got it laid out, Cleveland. On my second count, I have the Dolphins actually having a winning record this season.
Oh man, come on, man.
I'm gonna go down the list.
No.
I'm,
No.
They're gonna beat the Patriots, the Jets, and the Vikings.
No.
The Lions, the Bears, and the Browns, and the Texans.
Nobody's hearing you. Nobody's hearing you, man.
And they
go. You can backtrack and say they're gonna have a winning record. That's cool, but yeah, no, you don't need to go back through your whole hypothesis of which games are gonna win. No.
I got the Seahawks. Actually, I have the Seahawks 8-9. I think I had them 6-10 if I remember last week. But I have them 8-9. But I'm looking at the schedule, looking at the schedule, how the travel schedule, the away games. I'm gonna tell you you want to hear the 8 wins or the 9 losses? What you want to hear?
Other 9 losses, Cam. Let's go with those.
They lose to the Broncos. They lose to the Niners week 1 and 2. Week 6 they lose to the Cardinals. Week 7 they lose to the Chargers. Week 10 they lose to the Buccaneers. Week 12 they lose to the Texans. I might have to change that. I have them losing to the Texans. Excuse me. No, I take that back. I'm looking at it wrong. Week 12, they lose to the Raiders. Week 13, they lose to the Rams. And week 16, they lose to the Chiefs. Week 18, they lose to the Rams. So that's 9 losses. That's 9 losses. So 8-9. Beating the Falcons, Lions, Saints, Giants, Cardinals, Panthers, Niners, and Jets. That sounds about right. Now this one here, last week, I had the Chargers like finished 10-7, didn't I? Did I have them 10-7?
Oh yeah. Because I took the under.
I thought I had them 10-7. But when I did a recount today, I'm a
8-9. You have them at 8-9.
no, I didn't actually. I had them beating the Raiders, losing to the Chiefs, beating the Jaguars, Texans, Browns, Broncos, and Seahawks. So after 7 weeks, I have them 6-1. They
Okay.
beat the Falcons. I have them losing to the Niners. I have them beating the Chiefs. So I have them losing to splitting with the Chiefs. I have them losing to the Cardinals. I have them losing to the Raiders. Ultimately, I have them splitting with the Raiders. But I have them losing to beating the Dolphins, Titans, Colts, losing to the Rams, and beating the Broncos. And that gives them the 12-5 record
Mm.
because I have them losing to the NFC, I have them losing to the Rams, Raiders, Cardinals, the Niners, and the Chiefs. Where am I
Okay.
wrong?
So you got him at 12-5 then?
I got them at 12-5.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under on that. I'm gonna put that with the trifecta bet. And fans, just to recap on what the trifecta bet is, I said the Chargers won't have a better record than the Broncos. The Chargers will not make the playoffs, and they will win less than it was 10 games back then, but yeah, they'll win less than 12 games.
Chargers will have here it is there. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get to it, Cleveland. What did you say? Let
I
me,
said the Chargers will not have a better record than the Broncos. You've raised the bar to 12 games. They will not win 12 games, and they won't make the playoffs.
Chargers will have a worse record than the Broncos. Let me edit that. Let me clear that because he said a whole lot right there. Chargers will have worse record than the Broncos. That's number one. Number two. Number two was what?
Will win less than 12 games.
Will win less. I mean, they were a game. Shit. They were a game away from my prediction of 11 wins last season.
Okay.
A
Will
game
win
away.
less than 12 games.
Okay, and what was number three?
Will not make the playoffs.
Who's making the playoffs in the?
And when I win the trifecta, yeah, there's an extra bonus to all that.
I
But yeah,
mean, yeah,
that's
you
that's
win
the
the.
trifecta bet. That's like the exacta
Woo!
when you're at the horse racing track. Yeah,
Woo!
I got them in the box.
This is pure hatred right now. This is pure hatred right now for the for the Los Angeles Chargers. That's what this is. Wait till I tell Herbert about this.
Hey man,
I would,
you and
wait till I tell Herbert about this.
and then can't be sure to tell him, man, the reason this is happening to you is because I went to go see Ubu Pearl, man, and put a hex on you, man. It's the bad juju all over you guys. I didn't mean to do it when I did it, but yeah, that's why this is happening to you.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness gracious! There we go, right there. Oh shit! Hold on, it didn't save. Oh fuck! It did not fucking save. It did not say. Oh, I'm sorry, fans. I'm sorry, fans. I gotta chronicle this because Cleveland act like he never said anything
Oh
like
no, I got it
even
written
though
down
that's a,
right here in the ledger.
he'll act like he said nothing of the
And just
sort,
like
man.
and Ninja's gonna hold me to it. He already knows. He already knows how I feel about this.
Um, man, Cleveland, are you sure about all this?
Sure about all that. Right now, of course, we'll have to see how injuries, play a part in all this, but they're not going to get healthier as the training camp and season wears on. So
They will not win 12 games. And what was number three?
they will not have a better record than the Denver Broncos, and they will not make the playoffs.
They will not make the playoffs. Again, they're competing for number one in their division. So they're competing for number one in the division. So how does that not make the playoffs, sir?
Well, Broncos didn't make the playoffs last year. They're going to make the playoffs. The Ravens didn't make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. So yeah, there's some teams that are coming
The
back into the
Broncos aren't
fold.
making the playoffs. Is that what you just said?
I said the Broncos will make the playoffs. So there's some teams that are coming back into the fold that weren't in the fold last year. The Colts didn't make the playoffs last year. They're going to make the
You're out
playoffs.
of base.
And the Chargers didn't make playoffs last year with those three teams not making the playoffs.
They didn't win it last year. Yeah, right. Cleveland. You like the Stones. He's just being a contrarian. That's all, Ninja. He's just being a contrarian.
Am I?
Yeah. You're just
Dolphins
being
didn't make the playoffs either, and
No,
they have a really good chance to make playoffs.
the Dolphins aren't making they won't make the playoffs.
Ooh.
I can tell you that right there. Yeah, right there, Ninja. He gets no respects. The padded that D a little. They got Khalil Mack, Ninja. They got Khalil Mack and they got J.C. Jackson.
They got Khalil Mack in his 19th year. That's cool.
Well, it's like his 7th year actually. Playing with the guy under Staley who made him All Pro. It was Staley who made Khalil Mack.
Well, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to make the playoffs. I think the New England Patriots are going to make the playoffs. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to make the playoffs.
Time out. You got Bill Belichick going to the playoffs?
Well, yeah, I heard. Yeah, Mac Jones just came in, all swelled up and stuff. He's ready to go.
Oh, you're talking about Mac Jones too? Wow. See, I don't like how you come around. I worked on you. I like how you come around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Chargers. I don't know.
Titans, Colts make the playoffs. Bengals make the playoffs. Steelers and the Ravens make the
Titans
playoffs.
and the Colts making the playoffs. Titans and the Colts make the playoffs.
Well, I mean, considering the Chargers aren't going to be there, yeah, one of them has a really good opportunity to be there.
Look at you. Look at you. You gave me 8 teams making the playoff right there.
Yeah, and didn't even get to your conference yet. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's funny because I didn't even think he knew who Mac Jones was. Last year he was just calling him number 10. Last year he was just saying that guy. Now he's calling him by name though, Ninja. Now he's calling him by name though. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Nonetheless, so yeah, that's how that shook down, man. And we'll see. That really shook up Cleveland's blood a little bit because that hate for the Chargers runs deep.
I have no hate for the Chargers other than the fact that I'm a little irritated that I was following your lead and went and ran and jumped on the bandwagon with you, and then you jumped off soon as your Dolphins got a little extra makeup and mascara on, a little exterior growth. All of a sudden you jumped off the bandwagon.
No.
Tell me all about this culture that they're creating.
Wait,
and you and Staley, man, and how he's just this nouveau avant-garde coach, and then he make the playoffs.
Tyreek Hill is just not mascara, buddy. Tyreek Hill ain't mascara,
and they know better than they were last year, man. And everyone else has gotten much better.
It's not Tyreek Hill's fault though. It's not Tyreek Hill's fault. is not. It won't be your guy Ahmed Ahmed's fault either. It's not going to be Waddle's fault either. You know whose fault it's going to be? Is that damn
Well, I mean,
quarterback who I told him not to draft.
according to you, it will be the coach's fault.
No, it's going to be the damn quarterback
According
that
to you, it's going to be
I
the
said not to
coach's
draft.
fault.
No,
Because
no,
he's just not putting Tua Tagovailoa in positions to be successful like he should,
well.
as
I
if he
mean, it's
was
hard.
a
It's hard to
Belichick
find.
type.
It's hard to find position for Tua Tagovailoa to be successful. That's a challenge. Yeah, he's mad. He's mad. He's mad, buddy. He don't like that fucker Russell left at all. That's why
I mean,
that
that's
that leads us right into our Drew Lock conversation. Got some Drew Lock trivia for you guys. Cleveland, you know Drew Lock, right? Andrew Stephen Locke. That is his full complete name. If you didn't know, Andrew Stephen Locke. You remember that? You guys, Drew Lock. Do you know when his birthday was? No. You know why your Sonics is making that run that run in the NBA Finals? Your guy Drew Lock was just rolling around the nursery in Columbia, Missouri. He was just a little young type in club. You never had a word of him. What round was Drew Lock drafted in? Do you know?
second round.
Yeah. What number was he picked? What number?
Nope.
He was a second rounder, number 42 for your Denver Broncos, former Denver Broncos. Drew Lock is the son of Andrew or Andy, excuse me, and Laura Locke. He only has one sibling, so it was just the two of them. Only boy in the house. Growing up in Columbia, Missouri, how confident do you feel about your guy now leading the way for your Seahawks?
Not confident at all.
Not confident at all. I mean, you're not confident in Pete Carroll their selection and John Snyder their selection to put players in the right position to be successful. Why not?
Quarterback is not a position you tinker around with, man.
What do you mean, Tinker? This guy has real NFL experience.
See,
This guy, he's he has an NFL experience.
you see,
This is a
fans,
proud friend. This is a proud
you see why
franchise.
Cam just couldn't wait for this segment, man. He is so magnificent about this, man. You
Oh,
see that he's trying to smear this dog doo-doo all over everybody's faces, trying to make it seem like there's really something going on here. We all know that Drew Lock is not the answer. And I know you just can't wait to see
but you
Drew
didn't.
Lock roll out
But
there just like the second coming of Charlie Whitehurst. Yeah, whatever.
but they didn't draft a quarterback. I mean, this is what they're
There
rolling
was
with.
no quarterback to draft. They tried.
Malik was there for you guys. He was there to be
At
tested
9.
at night. Yes, he's there
Yeah,
for
no,
you.
no.
You don't think you can't keep just thinking that you're gonna draft your franchise quarterback in the third or fourth round. You guys got lucky and did that. You got that you fell in your
Very,
lap.
very true. But Malik Willis was not a number 9 pick. He didn't have that type of grade or caliber. You get way better players.
Well, you got Ninja agrees with you. You got Ninja agrees with you. So let's move on to our this week in history segment. Let's close the show out. Cleveland, thank you for your participation once again, fans. Years ago, Jackie Robinson announced his retirement rather than be traded to the New York Giants. He said, "I'm done." May 25th, 1957, he decided to be done. Cleveland, on May 25th, 1989, baseball signed $400 million deal with ESPN to show 175 games in 1990. That was 30 years ago. What does that contract look like now? They signed $400 million in.
Oh yeah, you got to throw an extra zero on there.
Right. 2007, May 25th, Bill Cowher resigns as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So kind of surprised everybody that not only that he retired, but he hasn't been back coaching the league since. 1993, May 25th, Reggie Jackson, your guy, elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Reggie Jackson. Cleveland, I'm gonna get you a segment on Ichiro Suzuki. Not Ichiro Suzuki. Where the hell did that come from? Shohei Ohtani. Excuse me. Shohei Ohtani was at the ballpark the other day, so I'm gonna hit a you know uh first what is it? The first hit home run right there, kicked out the game with a home run, followed up by Mike Trout, followed up with a single, get the guy home in the next inning. Angels are pretty strong, man. Angels is pretty strong. Saw the Dodgers play last week, man. I would ask you if you want to talk about your Mariners, but 10 games back, 3-7, the last 10 games, man, 18-26. That's enough time that they get right there. Boom. How'd you do last week in the bets?
Did great.
Yeah, what you win on? What games you win? Did you have some money on the Preakness? Was it the Preakness or the Belmont Stakes? It was the Preakness that they had this weekend, right?
No, I don't bet on horse racing.
Hmm.
I took the Warriors and the Celtics.
Okay. Um, what's your thoughts on? Did you see David Benavidez pummel David Lemieux?
I did
Preakness
not.
is this weekend. Okay, I got it. Huh?
I did not see that fight.
David Lemieux punished him, pummeled him in 3 rounds. It was over. David Benavidez, man, I love to see David Benavidez get in tip-top shape and fight Charlo, Canelo, uh, the big Charlo, Canelo, or Caleb Plant. I mean, I like to see that fight. He has a belt now. I don't know what direction he's going, but I like to see. He wasn't in tip-top shape and just dismantled Lemieux pretty easily. I like to see him get in tip-top shape and fight some of these guys, man. If he's in tip-top shape, I think he can be the best in that 168 division. Canelo, he turned down the rematch with Bivol, decided to drop down to 168, I think, and fight Triple G again. What's your thoughts on Canelo? Benavidez has not been disappointing, a ninja. He hasn't. He just doesn't stay in shape. I mean, he's won a belt 3 different times. He's a champion. He, my thing is he just doesn't always stay in shape. That's the only thing.
Yeah, Canelo is about to take another L.
To Triple G,
Yeah, for sure.
I think he's going to Triple G because he can win that fight. I think Triple G's a little older, slower, so he can probably get the advantage of that one. The first one was a draw. The second one they kind of gave it to Triple G. You think they're gonna have, if it's close? You think they're gonna have Triple G lose again?
No, if it's close, they're going to give it to Canelo because he's the bigger draw. But I
Yeah,
think,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, I think, yeah, there you go.
Um,
I like where Ninja's coming at with that. It's just it's a bigger money grab, and it's an opportunity. I think he feels like a path of the path of lesser resistance, but
yeah, certainly.
I think he's just gonna come up short again.
Well, we'll see what happens, but yes, it certainly is a path of least resistance. This is a way they're trying to get back some credibility after a loss. He's being now referred to as a ducker. Um, there's some memes around him, him running around town on his head on the duck's body, just because he's a ducker. Because there's still Charlo for him to fight. There's still Andrade for him to fight, who he didn't give an opportunity to fight when he had the champion. And my question is for them, Andrade and Charlo, would they want, knowing that they didn't, he never gave them the chance to fight for his championship belts? Should they give him the chance to fight for their championship belts? Will they
Oh,
do
sure.
that?
Yeah, it's a money grab. Yeah,
Well, it's for them, yes.
and
I mean,
they now
they still get to
they know
go.
that he is far from invincible. So
He's
yeah, they don't have
beatable.
the same. There's no fear factor anymore.
Um, so why not? I mean, so Benavidez, just as example, Benavidez Charlo, you'd be more interested in Benavidez Canelo than Benavidez Charlo?
Yeah, for now, I'd like to see Canelo take these next 2 to 3 losses and be out the sport.
Mm. Yeah, we do. I do MMA. I actually cover boxing, so I'm a little
Tad bit,
closer to that one. So I'm
tad
a little
bit.
closer to one. Um, So yeah, just with MMA, man. There's just I appreciate the sport, I appreciate the athleticism, but there's just so many guys. Like a guy lose the championship tomorrow. Tomorrow next week, there's another guy who looks even better than he did a month ago. I mean, it's just there's so many guys that coming out of the woodwork. I can't. I appreciate the work that all them guys put into their craft, but there's just so freaking many of them. Like they just can't keep up with all of them. Um, but yeah, the real question again is Canelo now is being seen as a ducker in the fight world because his choice not to fight, not to go back and fight Buval, and then not to fight either Charlo or Andrade. We talked about Benavides. Your guy Tank Davis. You saw Tank put in some work. He fights against Rolly this week. Who you got in this one?
Got Tank rolling over.
Would it go the distance?
Yeah, Tank didn't hit that hard.
You got to go in the distance.
Yeah, Tank don't hit that hard.
I don't know that this is going the distance. Tank. I don't know that this fight's going the distance. Rolly's talked so much shit. He's talked so much shit leading up to this fight that he's gonna to back up the fight. He's gonna have to knock out Tank, and then Tank, because he's been talking so much shit, is gonna be trying to knock out Rolly. I don't think this goes the distance. It's gonna be a good fight though. Pay per view, Showtime. Tune in. We actually, What's Good in Sports is gonna have some presence there in the fight, so make sure you tune into all of our social media. But yeah, that's a fight you don't want to miss this weekend. And then obviously we got Spencer Crawford on the books. You want to give us a American League prediction, Cleveland? It's been 3 weeks ago since you said the Dodgers are going to make the World Series in Major League. You want to give us a American League team?
Yeah, Yankees.
Oh, you chalk, and I'm holding you to that too. I'm holding you to that. You gonna owe me a elbow or bar ribs after neither one of these teams make it. Um, Cleveland, we're gonna end the show, man. I want to thank you for your participation as always, fans. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you for your participation. We do the show again. The show is the voice of the fans, so we appreciate you guys for stepping up and participating in the show, whether it's on a live chat or it's on Twitter. Thank you guys for your participation. Cleveland, thank you for getting in the show. I appreciate it. Ryan Garcia is a bum. Stop it with Ryan Garcia, Ninja. Ryan Garcia is making commercials with Damian Lillard. I don't know if you saw that one, and Gatorade commercials, and actually what he has the Crown Royal commercial. Ryan Garcia, he's Hollywood. He's at Hollywood right now. I don't know that he really wants to fight because he should have fought Damon. He should have fought David. He should have fought Devin Haney last year. They should have had that fight.
Well, you know how boxing goes. Sometimes you don't always get the fight you want, Cam.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. But those two guys aren't going to be around long enough to kind of make that fight.
Just draw it out for 5-6 years.
Yeah, neither one
keep
of those
talking
guys
about it.
Yeah, they needed to get in the ring and handle their business,
okay,
and one of them elevate themselves. But they're just going to be toiling around in anonymity. And again, as I stated, Ryan Garcia, I don't think his focus is boxing anymore. Everything he's doing off the field. But nonetheless, fans, I want to thank you guys again. Cleveland, I want to thank you for another fascinating show. And I want to leave you guys with this quote. Cleveland, it's not whether you get knocked down. And you know this, man. You keep having to, week after week after week, you have to pick yourself up and kind of get your mindset again after I pummel you week after week in our debates. So it's not whether you get knocked down. It's whether you get up. And Cleveland, I appreciate the way you come back, man. Each and every week you haven't said, no, I can't do it this week. I don't have nothing to say. You keep coming back every week because you're glutton for this punishment. So I'm going to keep giving it to you each and every week. So I thank you for participating with us. Fans, as always, thank you for being a part of the show. Cleveland, let your tell the people where they can find you if they want to give you some support during the week for this abuse that you take each and every week on the Voice of the Fans podcast.
Fans at Clevie Wonder on Twitter, Cleveland Still on Instagram.
And you can find me at What's Good in Sports Singular, at What's Good in What's Good in Sports Singular, or at underscore voice of the fans. At underscore voice of the fans. I'm there every day. Got a lot of content for you. I'll be posting stuff throughout the week. Let me know what you want to see. Check out the TikTok. Cleveland, I don't know if you're on TikTok. TikTok is a wave of the future, apparently. Get on TikTok. Voice of the fans on TikTok. Make sure you follow us. I got a lot of videos, interesting videos that I post on TikTok. Cleveland, voice of the fans on TikTok. Make sure you follow us.
Gotcha.
Fans, thank you for your time. Cleveland, have a great one. See you guys soon. Enjoy your weekend and watch the fight. We'll talk about the fight next week. Talk about the NBA playoffs next week. We'll have next week. We should know by the time we're doing the show. We'll know who's in the NBA finals. Cleveland. So let's talk about it then. Have a good one, big guy.
Sounds good. Talk soon.
Later. Later.